If you are feeling defeated by your child's behavior, I've been there. When my son was getting older, about toddler years, preschool years, he was very intense. I needed to come up with a plan. Words were not helping. We needed an action every time. Now, children feel safe when they have healthy boundaries. I was also practicing affirmations for myself, like, I'm not afraid of your anger. I've got this. I can handle this. These affirmations really helped me have a plan and feel confident. The thing you want to do is you want to structure your home so it makes sense. If there's a place for everything, and there's order, and there's routine and structure, a child will feel more safe. If things are chaotic, then a child feels less safe. Encourage them to design their play area and make sure there's a place for each item, and then have basic rules in regard to when you take something out, you put it away. There's a place for everything, and feel free to involve the children in the design of the space, especially the area they're going to be using most. Have stools if needed, so they have access to wash their hands and get other items if needed. Getting some small brooms and dustbins so they can help clean up. Labeled bins for various items so it's easier to clean up independently. What are the routines in your home? What does it look like now, and what would you like it to look like? What's the morning like? Does your child make their bed, brush their teeth, get dressed? What about in the evening? Do you read story time together? Do they need to brush their teeth, put their pajamas on? Jobs around the house are great self-esteem boosters. It makes them feel empowered, independent, and it makes them feel as if they're contributing to the household. So involve them in creating jobs they are responsible for. Checklists are very helpful for some children. So for instance, I used to have a summer chart. As my child got older, they wanted to play on the computer all day long, so I had a chart that these items all had to be done before they could do the computer. It gave them a sense of independence, but it also gave them a variety. Transitions are very difficult for children. Imagine as an adult, you're in the middle of something and you're working really hard on this project, and all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and says, let's go, it's time to go. You're like, what? I'm in the middle of this. Well, children feel the same way. So transition mindfully. Prepare your child by giving a heads up or a special signal that you both create together to help them prepare. Ask them, what would really help you in these transitions? And see what they say. A timer is useful for some children. Now, if a child is in the middle of something and they do get upset when it is now time to transition, teach them to say, you wanted more time. To ask for more time, say, I'm in the middle of this. Can I finish it, please? Or can I have more time? Now you say it. So you're giving them the words to say. Remind them your answer might be no, but teaching them how to ask for things is crucial. I always like to give them a little bit of time after they've asked appropriately, maybe on the first time. And then going forward, reminding them, I'm not always going to be able to say yes. But today I can, because you used your words really appropriately. Always congratulate them by using words appropriately. Connection. Make time every day, even if it's just for a short amount of time, to see, hear, notice, and be present with your child. Connection is research-based and very important in building relationship with your child. Focus on what you want. There is so much going right. How many times do we beat up on ourselves and say, oh, I wish I did this, or you should have done that, or why didn't you do this? And we do it to ourselves and we do it to our children. We're constantly talking to them when they did something wrong. Brains are pattern seeking, and it'll keep doing that until we make a conscious choice to flip the script. So instead, you will focus on everything going right. And you do that by noticing and describing the task. And you end with an affirmation. You got dressed right away. That is responsible. You carried your plate to the sink. That is helpful. You fed the dog. That is caring. You moved on even when you didn't want to. Way to be a flexible thinker. This is a self-esteem booster. It makes them feel good. independent, confident, and full of self-love. Sometimes a child won't believe you when you say, "Good job." But when you describe the behavior and you end with an affirmation, they start to believe you. So this is a self-esteem booster. There are so many things going right throughout the day. And what you focus on, you're going to see more of it. See the best in them. Honestly, they're just trying to get their needs met. So have positive intent. Give appreciations as often as you can. Ask questions, get curious, and be respectful. Let go of judgments so they will always feel safe coming to you. Treat them as you would like to be treated, or in a way you wish you had been treated. Are you hard on yourself? Are you hard on them? Give yourself and them some grace. If you are having reactions, it is your stuff. Do they remind you of yourself? Remember, your reactions are your issues, and it is a clue of what needs healing within or what needs being looked at. And as we learn to love and accept ourselves more fully, we are definitely better able to give it to our children. Some parents use incentive programs and some don't. No matter what you choose, celebrate success as much as possible. Notice, describe, and celebrate spontaneously in some way so they feel your acknowledgement. When you choose to focus on what you want, the more you will see what you want. Now, here are some strategies in regard to following instructions if things aren't happening or they're not doing what they're supposed to or you're running into some problems. Connect. Hey, you're usually so responsible. What is happening? Another strategy is to teach the missing skill. Have your child practice. Do a do-over the appropriate way. For instance, if they grab something out of your hand, say an apple, you could say, "Oh, you really wanted that apple." If you want an apple, you can say or ask, "Mom, can I have that apple, please?" Now you say it. And then they practice. So you're literally giving them the words and then you have them practice. That's a do-over. Another strategy is you want to be assertive. State your request with a polite command, not as a question. You want to be clear, polite, and firm. Put your pajamas on and brush your teeth. Be assertive. Another strategy is to offer choices. Offer 2 positive choices. You can brush your teeth first or put on your pajamas. Which do you prefer? Then walk away and allow them to choose. It's giving them an opportunity to feel independent, to assert some control. It avoids power struggles. Instead of using the word don't, use the word do. If you say, "Don't run, don't run, don't run," what are you hearing? You're hearing run, run, and so they're going to run. Instead, say, "Walk in the house, walk," and so then they're hearing the word walk. So tell them what you want them to do, not what you don't want them to do. So another strategy is logical consequences. If you choose not to put your toys away, they will not be available next time. It is important we clean up our own mess. I will start the timer now. Then set a timer and walk away. Avoid any power struggle. If they never did clean up when the timer went off, move on and follow through with the consequence. You could go ahead and put the toys away, and then they could try again another day. You don't want it to be a punishment, or you don't want them to feel shame. You want them to learn from the experience and to be able to have a chance to try again and succeed. So you don't want it to be too lengthy. And always think about the age-appropriate logical consequences. Offering empathy while following through on the consequence is the greatest teaching and learning moment. Model what you wish to see in them. I remember when my child was younger and something happened and he had a consequence. He wasn't allowed to watch something. And he was crying and he was so upset. And I wanted to rescue him. I wanted him to feel better. I felt horrible. But I knew that if I bailed on the plan and I gave in, then it would damage our relationship. He needed to know that he could trust me and that he could trust my word. I just repeated back what he said. He was crying because he really wanted to watch that. And I said, I hear you. You were really sad. You're really sad that you really wanted to watch that. And I sat on the bed with him and I held him and I hugged him and I followed through with the consequence. But I was there for him. That is empathy. How many times have you gone home from work and vented about your day and the other person said, oh, it's not that bad, or maybe you should try this, or tomorrow's another day, and you're not really feeling better about the situation. You're getting even more upset and you're trying to hone in your point even more. No, listen to me. It was this bad because blank, blank, blank. It's because you're not really getting true empathy. Somebody's trying to help you in a way that they know how. They're trying to problem solve with you, but you're not there. That's not where you're at. You're upset, you're venting, and you just want empathy, which is allowing the moment to be as it is. So these are the tools to do that. Whether they are crying, yelling, or upset, you repeat back what you see and hear. This allows them to feel heard and process the big feelings. For instance, you might say, you really wanted to play with those toys. You really wanted that bike. You're feeling mad because blank. You're just repeating back what you're seeing and you're hearing. You are not trying to fix anything or save them from their feelings. When you do that, the message you give them is that they cannot handle it and that they need rescuing. But they can handle it. They don't need a hero. After offering empathy, give an affirmation like, you've got this, you can handle it, I believe in you. This reminds them they are capable and they can move through it and problem solve. Intentional Dialogue by Dr. Harville Hendrix. This is a great strategy to do when you want to have a family meeting or you all want to sit around and talk about some concerns or some feelings people are having. It's a great tool. Again, you're doing mirroring. You're just accurately reflecting back content. You're just repeating back what you heard. That's it. You're reflecting it back. You're validating. It does not mean you agree or disagree. You don't have to. You don't have to agree or disagree with them. But it does mean you surrender your place as source of truth and you allow this space for the other person's interpretation of reality. Allow them to have their truth. Empathizing. It's the process of recognizing the feelings of another person while they are expressing a point of view or telling a story. Let's face it, we have all found ourselves in a power struggle with our children. It's inevitable that at some point you're going to lose your cool, they're losing their cool, everybody's upset, nobody is regulated. It happens to all of us. But getting calm, regaining our composure is the first step. We can't solve any problems, we can't do anything really until everybody is calm. And our children borrow our calm. So if we're upset and they're upset, everybody is upset. They are children, their brains are not fully developed, not until about 25. And so they need to borrow our calm. And that's why it's super important for us to remain composed. And it's not easy. I'm definitely not saying it's easy. I remember when my child was really small and he threw Cheerios all over the house. And I was really stuck. He was not going to do this or anything else until those Cheerios were picked up. And it just got worse. He just threw more and more and more. And now I'm getting more upset and I'm digging my heels in and nobody is moving forward until this is picked up. We were stuck. This went on for quite a while. Thank goodness I had enough going on in my brain where I remembered to pick up the phone and call my support network. a person that really helped me with parenting. And she said something that I was not expecting. She told me to let it go. And I was like, what? He's going to learn that he can just do whatever he wants and get away with it and blah, blah, blah. I was stuck. I was so stuck in that power struggle. And she said, sometimes you just need to pick and choose, and sometimes you need to let it go. And it was really, really awesome advice. He had already moved on to do something else, and I just quietly, without him knowing, just quietly picked up all the Cheerios and I let it go. In that moment, I needed to be reminded that this was a tiny problem. I was having a big reaction to a very tiny problem. I needed to remember that just because I let something go today doesn't mean that for the rest of my life, my child is going to think that he could do whatever he wants and have no consequences or have no accountability. This was a tiny, tiny problem. There were Cheerios in the house. And when we keep perspective like that, when we remember, this is a tiny problem. I don't need to have a huge reaction over a tiny problem. We do need to pick and choose. There are some things that are too important that need to be addressed. Sometimes we just need to let it go. Getting calm is the first step. We cannot problem solve when any of us are in our reptilian brain, when we're in fight, flight, or freeze. A safe place is a place set up for your child, a place they can go when they're feeling upset, when they need to calm down, regain composure, a place to help them get regulated. You can have various tools in the safe place. It does not need to be elaborate. It can be very simple. You can create it together. You can have various tools on hand so that when they go to the safe place, the strategies and tools are there to help them regain composure and get calm. Remember, children aren't doing things because they're trying to get you. They are doing things because they don't have the skills yet. They're still developing, and they need help from you to teach them those skills, to practice them. So if a child is being unsafe or physical, you could say, hey, let's go to the safe place and get calm. Let's do some strategies. Which one would you like to do? I can tell you're getting really frustrated. Your arms are going like this. Let's go to the safe place. Which activity would you like to do to get calm? Children are just trying to get their needs met, and they don't have the skills. So it is up to us to teach them the missing skills, to practice with them, to model it. And we always have to remain calm. If we are calm, we can help them get calm too. If we're starting to get upset, we're not going to be able to help them get calm. The way you can model it is if you are feeling like you're starting to get really upset or frustrated, you can say, I'm starting to feel really frustrated. I need to breathe. Will you breathe with me? And then you breathe together. It allows the connection to build, which allows them to grow and develop in a really healthy way with that strong connection with somebody they can trust, somebody that really helps them. And as they get older, you'll notice them coming to you with issues and problems. They feel safe doing so. They trust you. They feel connected to you. And that's what we want. That healthy connection is everything. There are various calming activities out there. Choose one that works for you and your child. Heart math is a favorite of mine. It is great for anxiety, and it is a research-based program. So there are various heart math tools, but the one I like to do a lot with the students is Shift and Shine. And so the first step is to place your hand on your heart and take your attention down to the area of your heart and start heart breathing. Imagine breathing in and out of your heart. So take 3 slow, deep breaths into your heart and out. Do it 3 times.
and feel yourself relax. Then we start to fill our heart with that special feeling that makes our heart smile. Your child might like sitting in the warm sunshine or playing with their puppy, or they might be looking forward to a trip, or they had an experience that was really fun, or there's an activity they love to do, their favorite thing to play. At this time, you invite your child to think of something that makes them happy when they think about it. Not anything that makes them feel sad. It has to be something that they feel really happy when they think about it. It makes their heart smile. It makes them feel good. And as an adult, we do that too. Think about a time that we enjoyed, or something we're looking forward to, or something we love to do. Think about an experience that makes you or made you feel so good. And then once you have that feeling, you're going to go right into it. You're there. And you're going to start to breathe that feeling into your heart. So do that now very slowly. Take that experience and breathe it into your heart and out. And you continue on until you feel that peaceful heart and you feel your heart shine.
Unsafe behavior. Clear and firm boundaries are important. If a child can do whatever they want and nobody stops them, they can feel out of control. They can feel unsafe. You could say, "You may not hit." And if you know why they were unsafe, you can say, "You really wanted that toy." If you want that toy, you can say, "Johnny, can I have that toy? Try that now." And then you can have them practice. We talked about that a little earlier. You always want them to practice, but sometimes we need to wait until they are calm. When they are calm, have them practice the appropriate way. Keep it logical and age appropriate. Sitting out and practicing breathing before trying again is appropriate for young children. Many of us have spent a lot of our life pleasing other people, pleasing others at the expense of ourselves, saying yes when we really mean no. The problem with doing that is that we can deplete or empty our cup. We're expending all this energy outward and nothing's coming back in because we're not checking in with ourselves. We're not listening to ourselves. And when that happens, resentment can build, depression, anxiety, or one day we explode. If something happens to us or we have some sort of a conflict and we just say, "Oh, it's not a big deal," and we move on. But it is a big deal. We're upset or we're angry and we didn't acknowledge it. We didn't listen to it. We didn't check in with self. And we go about our business, then it builds. And say it happens again, and it builds even more. And it happens again, and it builds even more. Until one day, we're exploding on somebody, and it really wasn't about the other person. And we didn't stop. We didn't name the feeling. And we didn't do what we needed to do to check in with ourselves, listen to ourselves, get calm, talk to somebody, process it, feel, grieve. It's important to check in with self. Shopping in the store with your child. Now, how many of you have bought things just to keep the peace, so not to make a scene, so people aren't staring at you and looking at you while your child is having a fit? We've all been there. We've all done that. No judgment. So that was happening to me. If he wanted me to buy him something, I would just do it. And I remember feeling little nudges, like, I don't really want to do that. And I did it anyway. So again, it was one of those situations where I kept doing something in spite of myself. I didn't really want to. I was saying yes. And it built and built until one day I'm just mad. And you can explode or take it out on somebody, and it's really not about the other person. It's about you. It's because you weren't honest with yourself. You didn't check in with yourself. You didn't acknowledge how you really felt. Doing what's right for yourself is what's right for other people. It opens the right door for others. It allows them to learn skills that they need to learn. A lot of times when children ask for things, we get resentful or we get annoyed or we get mad at them. And it's only because we don't know how to handle it. Remember, children are just being children. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're growing and developing, and they're going to ask, they're going to want things. They're being who they are. They're being what they're supposed to be. We need to learn to be okay setting limits and boundaries and saying give them a chance to increase their skills, to give them opportunities to learn and grow so that they are able to deal with life's disappointments. Sometimes something is really good for us. We know deep down we really want to do it and it's good for us, and then we come up with all kinds of dread. We're dreading it, we don't want to do it. But that's just fear. Fear is taking over, and that's a time that we really need to push through it, push through the fear, because we know it's good for us. We know it's what's best for us. And really deep down, it's what we want. So having an older child, when they are trying to figure out tough decisions and a direction in their life, always ask them, who are you and what do you want? Make sure you're getting to the root of their plan and what they're trying to do. And when they start getting into a point of, oh, I think I made a mistake, this isn't for me, no, this isn't right, always give it a little time. Say, well, let's spend a little time trying it out. Sometimes it's just fear, and we need to push through, and we need to encourage them to push through it, that they've got this, they can handle it. They're going to come with you with concerns and fears, and if you just keep bailing them out and saying, okay, let's not do it, they don't develop skill and resiliency to realize that they do have what it takes. They can handle it. They've got this. When we push through our fear, we get confidence, our self-esteem grows, and we feel better about who we are. And that's what we want for our children. Now, other times we've given it a try. We have, or they have, and we come back or they come back and it's like, this isn't for me. This isn't who I am. And in that case, it's time to move on. If you know who and what you are, then when you do have the fear, you can look at that and say, big picture, this is what I want. This is just a small moment. I've got this. So you want to constantly boost yourself up with inner coach dialogue. You've got this. You can handle it. You've got what it takes. You give the empathy. I know this is hard. You're feeling really stressed right now. But again, you want to encourage them. You've got this. You can handle it. I'm here for you. So the question you always want to ask yourself, and you want to encourage your children to ask themselves, is who am I and what do I want? And when you have that answer, you are more apt to make the right decisions when the going gets tough. And it's okay to change that. You're going to change who you are and what you want. Your children are too. They're going to try different things. They're going to explore different things. Allow them to try. Allow them to fail. Allow them to make mistakes. We want the same for ourselves. You've been doing all the things. You feel very structured. There's a lot of good routines going. Things are going pretty well. But this one thing keeps happening, or this one time of day keeps happening, or the physical aggression or unsafe behavior is really picking up. And so this is when we come up with a plan of action. So we look at what the challenging behaviors are and what is the message behind it. What are they obtaining? What are they getting? Or what are they avoiding? Or what are they trying to communicate? Maybe they don't have the skill. They don't know what to do when they want. Every situation is different, but you need to, so there's not a one formula for everyone. You have to look at the individual situation. You want to ask yourself, have I taught the skill yet? Maybe that's what I need to do. I need to teach the skill. So you're going to look at what are the strategies you've used, or what do you need to do to teach them the missing skill? And then also you want to look at what strategies have I done to correct the missing skill? Have I done logical consequences? Have I done redos and practice? So you want to look at what you've done to correct the missing skill, or what do you need to do going forward? And you want to ask yourself, am I connected? Am I connected with them right now? If there's so much going on in my life and I'm annoyed all the time and I'm not feeling connected, you'll probably see more behavior happening because they're trying to pull you in. They want to connect. So ask yourself, am I connected? And you want to ask yourself, do you believe that they have the communication and composure skills to access when they need it? And if they don't, you want to teach it, and you can practice with them. At the very end of this form, you ask what skills are missing and how will I teach the child the missing
We
skill.
always have a choice. How are we going to respond? That is our choice. Within us, we have an inner coach and we have an inner critic. We have the power to choose which one we're going to listen to. I teach this to students a lot. Somebody does something to somebody and their first instinct might be to listen to their inner critic, and they start saying things like, why me? I can't believe this. People always let me down, and all kinds of thoughts. And they end up having a really bad day. Now, somebody else might look at the situation and say, you know what? Maybe they're having a hard time. I like me. I did my best, and my best is enough. I'm doing the best I can. And they listen to their inner coach, and they end up having a really great day. They made a choice. You always have the power. You always have the choice. We need to come back to a problem. Maybe in the moment it was something we couldn't solve in the moment. There were too many high emotions, and now everybody is calm, and we need to repair what happened. What you do is you can have them reflect and restore the damage or the hurt. So you can ask these questions. What happened? What were you thinking about? What have you thought about since? Who is affected by what you have done? What do you think you need to do to make things right? And another question you could add is, what will you choose to do next time? I'm not a big fan of forcing apologies. Restorative practices is a way to really allow somebody to really reflect on their choices and what they did. Instead of forcing an apology, you can say, what do you think you need to do to make things right? How would you like to repair this? Sometimes if it's involving somebody else, they can ask them, what do you need? What do you need from me? I feel like the most important question is, what will you do next time? What will you choose to do next time? So instead of an apology or a forced apology, what will you choose to do next time? And so this is a way to really reflect what happened and have a plan for next time. Guide the conversation. So it is important that when a child comes to you because they are upset at another child, let them know you will go with them to talk with them. Then you give them the words to say. Guide the conversation. Have them resolve with each other. You don't take sides. You are just the guide in helping them solve their problems. A lot of times I will say to children, I don't have an issue with either one of you, but it sounds like you have an issue with each other. So let's talk to each other. And then you have them look at each other, be assertive, use I statements, and you give them the words to say. So if they're confused, you can say, well, ask them, why did you do that? Always make sure they're calm first. You cannot problem solve if you're angry and upset. So make sure you do some calming activities before they have the conversation. Family meetings, mediations. So to have a successful meeting or mediation, all need to be open and willing to problem solve and be respectful. You can use a talking stick when it's your turn, or anything that the person holds. It sometimes helps. Remind everybody who is the speaker. You have the right to pass. Sometimes people are not ready right away and need the stick to go around and then come back to them later. Speak from the heart, your perspective, with honesty, and listen from the heart. Release judgment. Continue to breathe and be present. Then once that happens, find similarities, like we all want respect. Then share ideas and solutions in moving forward. Now, sometimes conversations stay stuck on the problems, where they're not agreeing. Well, no, this happened, or they're just disagreeing on some issues and they're just stuck in the problem. Find something that is agreed on, like we both agree we were hurt and we both want blank. Then focus on the solutions and brainstorm and share all ideas. Don't ever worry that it's a silly idea. Throw all the ideas out there. Then find those you can all agree to. And remember, there are no interruptions when someone is holding the talking stick.
I think the most important thing is to be real with your children. Just be real. We're not going to be perfect, and it's okay to tell them that. It's okay to have moments where we're losing our temper or feeling frustrated, or we say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. It's important to come back to them and share that with them. Explain that to them. I've had many conversations with my son in which I went back and said, you know what? I went about that all wrong. Can I have a do-over? And then I literally go back in time and I do it the way that I wished I had done it. Children want to know that we're real, that we make mistakes. It allows them to feel okay in making mistakes. If they think that we can do no wrong and we're always right and we're perfect, then it's really hard for them to be gentle with themselves and accept themselves, because it's hard to measure up to that. If we allow ourselves to be human, it gives them permission to be human. It gives them permission to forgive themselves, to love themselves, accept themselves. I really hope that this course was a stepping stone to help jumpstart you in healthy relating with your children.